Goku has always been someone who never wanted to follow limits, not even when his opponent was clearly more powerful, and the proof of this was the Tournament of Power. But why exactly did the gods of destruction stand up for Goku when he achieved complete Ultra Instinct? That's what I'm going to show you in today's video. So, without further ado, let's go. Since the beginning of the story, Goku has always demonstrated a spirit unlike any other warrior. It wasn't just about power or Saiyan blood flowing in his veins, but something that transcended the barriers of the ordinary. An insatiable will to grow, to evolve, to never be content with the stage he was in. This flame within him did not extinguish even in the face of much stronger enemies, not even in the face of death. Goku always returned stronger, more prepared, and with an even broader vision of what it means to be a true warrior. Many could say that Goku is destined to be the most powerful just because he is the protagonist of the work, but the reality is that his trajectory shows something far beyond narrative conventions. He was not created to be the strongest simply by being the main character. He became the strongest because he chose a path that no other followed with such seriousness. Goku does not seek power out of ego, does not seek victory out of revenge, does not fight out of empty pride. He fights because he loves to fight, because he sees in every battle a chance to grow and surpass his own limits. This mentality differentiates him not only from villains but also from allies. Vegeta, for example, sought power out of pride, out of status, out of the need to be superior. Gohan, on the other hand, always had a reluctance to fight, preferring a peaceful life. Goku, however, found balance between his thirst for battle and his natural kindness. He does not use his strength to dominate, but to protect and, at the same time, to challenge himself. This purity in his ideal is what has always led him to be one step ahead. Since childhood, even without understanding the weight of the world, Goku already showed this spirit. When facing stronger enemies, his first reaction was never to retreat, but to get excited about the opportunity to test his limits. Against Mercenary Tao, against King Piccolo, against Vegeta on Earth, or Frieza on Namek, he always saw something beyond fear in the fight. He saw evolution. The fight against Frieza, in particular, symbolizes this ideal. While Vegeta clamored for the legendary Super Saiyan to emerge out of pride and revenge, Goku awakened this form naturally through fury and the need to protect. But after transforming, he did not let hatred consume him. On the contrary, he offered Frieza a chance to live, even though he was his mortal enemy. This shows that Goku did not see his new strength as a tool of destruction, but as a way to go further. This essence of Goku is what places him above any other warrior. He does not measure his progress by what he has already achieved, but by what he still has to achieve. Therefore, after defeating Frieza, he did not settle. After defeating Cell, he was not satisfied. Even after defeating Majin Buu, he knew there was always someone stronger, always a new barrier to overcome. That's why Goku never stops. His body may tire, but his soul is never satisfied. When Vegeta witnesses this truth in the fight against Majin Buu, he finally understands something he had never accepted before. Until then, Vegeta believed that power came from pride, from race, from the determination to be the prince of all Saiyans. But before Goku, he realized that this was not the true path. What made Goku unique was his genuine thirst for evolution, without selfishness, without obsession with status. There, Vegeta recognizes him. Goku is number one, not because he was born to be, but because he chose to be. This recognition by Vegeta is one of the deepest moments in Dragon Ball. He was not just accepting a personal defeat, but he was recognizing an ideal that until then he despised. Vegeta realized that what moved Goku was neither pride nor obligation, but an unwavering love for fighting and growth. It was something that Vegeta, until that moment, could not comprehend, but which he finally accepted as true. Goku then is not the most powerful simply by Saiyan heritage or narrative luck. He is the most powerful because he has the perfect mindset for growth. While other warriors stop when they reach a goal, he sets a new one. While others fear defeat, he sees it as part of the process. While others conform to their limits, Goku breaks them repeatedly. This vision of never being content with his strength made him capable of achieving unthinkable feats. He was the first to achieve Super Saiyan, the first to surpass Super Saiyan 3, the first to achieve the power of the gods, and later, Ultra Instinct. Each form, each evolution, did not come only from external circumstances, but from his infinite thirst for transcendence. Ultra Instinct, in particular, represents the pinnacle of this ideal. It is a state where the body moves on its own, but the heart is still free to feel. Goku did not achieve this power out of obsession, but because his mind was open to growth. It is proof that his journey is not only physical but also spiritual. Deep down, Goku is destined not because someone wrote his story that way, but because his essence would always lead him to this destiny. His spirit, his ideal, his passion for fighting and for transcendence transformed him into the most powerful warrior. Vegeta recognized this at the end of the Majin Buu saga, but in reality, this truth was always there from the beginning. Goku is number one because he never settles for being less than he can be. And it is precisely this ideal that makes him eternal, because for Goku the journey never ends. There will always be a new limit, a new challenge, a new opponent, and he will never stop pursuing this evolution. This is the true reason why Goku will always be the most powerful. This personality of Goku of never being content with his own limits was precisely what caught the attention of even divine beings, like Beerus. At first, the god of destruction saw Goku only as an insolent mortal, someone who had no notion of his insignificance before the power of the gods. However, over time, Beerus began to realize that Goku was different from any other being he had ever known. It wasn't just brute force or Saiyan lineage, but the tireless mentality of always wanting to evolve, even when it seemed impossible. Since their first battle, when Goku achieved Super Saiyan God, Beerus understood that he had before him a mortal who could at some point surpass even the gods. This, for a being like Beerus, was both a threat and a source of fascination. He would never openly admit it at first, but the truth is that his respect for Goku grew with each transformation, each evolution, each time Goku proved he was willing to overcome insurmountable barriers. This respect reached its peak during the Tournament of Power. There, amidst the battle against Jiren, Goku went beyond anything he had ever shown before. He not only surprised his allies, but also the gods themselves. When Goku awakened complete Ultra Instinct, the impossible happened. All the gods of destruction stood up as a sign of respect and admiration. After all, that was a power that not even they, the most feared beings in existence, had managed to master. The impact of that moment was gigantic. It wasn't just Goku achieving a new form, but a mortal showing the gods that their limitation was not real. While the gods of destruction possessed divine power from the beginning, Goku conquered that with effort, struggle, pain, and perseverance. This difference is what makes his achievement even more extraordinary. He was not born with Ultra Instinct. He tore it from his own guts, forcing his body and mind to adapt to the impossible. Beerus, who always placed himself above mortals, had no choice but to respect it. Deep down, that moment proved that his intuition was correct. Goku really could be the only one capable of one day reaching or even surpassing the gods. Beerus's gaze during the tournament was not one of envy, but of recognition. For the first time, he saw a mortal as an equal, someone worthy of being called a rival, not just an entertainment toy. And the most impressive thing is that Goku did not seek Ultra Instinct to prove something to the gods. He didn't want recognition, he didn't want status. All he wanted was to win the fight, to surpass himself, to protect his friends, and to taste evolution again. This detachment from pride is precisely what makes him so special. The gods, even in their arrogance, realized this. They realized that Goku's purity was precisely what allowed him to achieve something they themselves could not. The gods of destruction standing up was not just an automatic reaction, but a clear demonstration of universal respect. Those beings who lived to destroy, who rarely recognized the greatness of others, were recognizing that Goku had achieved something they considered unreachable. This shows that Goku not only became the most powerful among mortals, but also broke the logic of the gods themselves. Whis, who followed everything closely, could not help but smile at that moment. He always knew of Goku's potential, but seeing all the gods of destruction standing up in unison was the definitive proof that Goku's personality is unique in the multiverse. He is not driven by destruction, he is not driven by pride, but by an unwavering love for fighting and growth. This episode of the Tournament of Power will be remembered as the moment when a mortal showed the gods that the impossible could be achieved, not just by power, but by the ideal that Goku carries within him. The idea that it is always possible to be better, always possible to go further, always possible to transcend, and that is something that even the gods have not been able to fully comprehend. Beerus, who always sought to maintain his position of authority, could not avoid admiration. He saw in Goku not just a warrior, but someone who could in fact represent the future of universal power. Therefore, despite continuing to maintain his posture as god of destruction, he began to treat Goku with a respect he had never offered to another mortal. This scene also impacted Vegeta, who, even recognizing Goku as number one at the end of the Majin Buu saga, had there the definitive proof that his rival would always be willing to go further. For Vegeta, seeing all the gods standing before Goku was at once painful and inspiring. After all, if even the gods respected him, it was a sign that Goku's path was truly unique. The fact is that Goku did not seek that respect. He never asked for it, never wanted to be revered. And precisely by not seeking it, he ended up achieving it. The recognition of the gods was not by imposition, but by the pure reality of his actions. Goku transcended the barrier between mortals and divine not only by power, but by essence. And in the end, the Tournament of Power showed the multiverse something undeniable. Goku was not just the strongest warrior among mortals, but also the only one capable of awakening the admiration of all the gods simultaneously. A historic feat built not by destiny or favoritism, but by the unique personality of never giving up on evolving. This is Goku's legacy, to prove that it doesn't matter if you are mortal or divine, what really matters is the spirit with which you face the journey. And for that, even the gods of destruction, who lived to destroy, had to bow before the greatness of a simple Saiyan who never settles for what he has already achieved. This respect conquered by Goku in the Tournament of Power was not only symbolic, but also a premonition of what could happen in the future. If a mortal managed to awaken a gesture of recognition in all the gods, it means that the limit between divine and mortal is not as absolute as once thought. Goku's trajectory points to something greater, the real possibility of him surpassing all the gods, not only in power, but in meaning, showing that the true path of strength does not come from the position you occupy, but from the determination you carry. Beerus, in particular, knows this better than anyone. Deep down, no matter how much he maintains his arrogant posture, he understands that Goku represents a threat to his throne as god of destruction. But this threat is not something he fears, but something he respects. It is as if Beerus sees in Goku a worthy rival, someone who can awaken in him the same flame of battle that he himself had lost long ago. And this only reinforces the idea that Goku's essence is capable of inspiring even gods. The other gods of destruction, by standing up, also recognized that the barrier separating gods and mortals was broken. If Goku, a simple Saiyan, achieved complete Ultra Instinct, then perhaps the gods have something to learn from him. Not about technique, but about essence, about how true evolution is born from relentless pursuit, the courage to never give up, and the passion for battle. Goku, without realizing it, became an example even for the gods themselves. And that's why many believe that Goku's destiny goes beyond being just the most powerful warrior. He can become a universal symbol, living proof that any being can transcend their own limits, regardless of their origin. If even the gods respect his spirit, then Goku's path is just beginning. And perhaps, one day, he will not only be #1 among mortals, but #1 in the entire multiverse. But comment on what you thought of all this, and don't forget to like. Thank you very much for everyone's support, and see you next time.